This is 2 square root of 2. Remember, this breaks up as square root of 4, square root of 3. The square root of this is 2. So 2 square root of 3. This one should be 2 square root of 6. Breaks up as 4 and 6. You could break this one up as square root of 4 square root of 8 and get 2 square root of 8, but this one is not simplified completely, and that's because you didn't choose the highest perfect square. This breaks up as square root of 16 square root of 2. So the answer is 4 square root of 2. Pick a number from 1 to 20. Today's lottery numbers are 4, 8, 12, 15, 18. Today's objectives will be to simplify radical expressions, and you'll have a test on Friday. We'll continue our review and finish up tomorrow. Test on Friday. Flashcards. Just say the answer out loud when you know it. 2 square root of 3. 6.
2 square root of 7.
2 square root of 7.
4 square root of 2.
4 square root of 2.
3 square root of 8. 6 square root of 2.
6 square root of 2. Remember, it breaks up as square root of 36 and square root of 2.
3 square root of 2.
3 square root of 2.
2 square root of 6.
2 square root of 6. 10.
6 square root of 2.
6 square root of 2. Yeah, I gave it to you twice. See if you would remember it.
2 square root of 5.
2 square root of 5. Here's example 1. In this problem, it's 3 square root of 2 over 2 square root of 3. Nothing can be simplified in this before you do your multiplication. So, do the multiplication. Multiply the top and the bottom by square root of 3 because it appears on the bottom. On the top, you'll have 3 times the square root of 6 over this 2 stays, and square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. So you'll have 3 square root of 6 on top and a 6 on the bottom. You can simplify 3 over 6. 3 over 6 goes down to 1 over 2. No need to write the 1. Square root of 6 over 2 is the final answer. Here's example 2. This one is 6 square root of 8 over 3 square root of 4. Now, don't multiply top and bottom by anything until you first figure out if you can simplify something. 6 over 3 can cancel. 6 over 3 is 2. It'll go on top. But square root of 8 over square root of 4, it's tempting to make the square root of 4 2 and then multiply or simplify, but if you do that, you have more work to do. Just divide this by this to get square root of 2, and you're finished. Some of the problems you'll see on your test will go by pretty quick if you simplify completely to start with. On the practice problem, if you reduce 12 over 8, 4 goes into both of them, 3 and 2 times respectively, and square root of 12 over square root of 6 cancels the square root of 2. 3 square root of 2 over 2. If you multiply this up against this, it's 2 square root of 6's. Answer 6. You can do this. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. And square root of 4 is 2. So it's 4 square root of 3. (16 over 12), they both reduce by 4s, so you would have 4 on top and 3 on the bottom. The square root of 20 over square root of 5 simplifies to square root of 4, which is 2.
I thought that you never did that.
8 over 3 is the answer. It breaks up as the square root of 36 and the square root of 2, which is 6 square root of 2. This is the third time we've had this class. This one should be 4 square root of 2. It breaks up as 16 and 2. This one is 2 square root of 7. Should be 2 square root of 5. Here's another example. In this problem, we'll have 3 over 2 as part of the problem. Down here, you'll have square root of 8, and this will be square root of 20, which I didn't leave enough room for the sign, but I squeezed it in there anyway. This is a rare occasion where you may not want to reduce all the way. If you reduce all the way, you could miss out on an easy chance to finish the problem early. Maybe so, maybe not, but here it is. The 3 over 2, of course, you can't simplify that. But what's the highest number that goes into 20 and 8?
4.
4. If I divide 20 by 4, I get the square root of 5. If I divide the square root of 8 by 4, I'm going to get 2, the square root of 2. But look what happens if I only cut them in half, not reduce all the way. Watch what happens. Half of this is going to be square root of 10, and half of that is square root of 4. So what happens to the square root of 4? Turns to a 2, and then you do 2 times 2 is 4, and you're finished. Had you reduced all the way down to square root of 5 over square root of 2, you would have missed a chance to finish the problem early. Otherwise, you'd have to multiply top and bottom by the square root of 2 and then continue on from there. On the practice problem, you can reduce 16 over 10 to 8 over 5.
Yeah, Joe.
8 over 5. Now the square root of 32 over the square root of 8. If I divide all the way, I would have the square root of 4 on top and just nothing on the bottom but 1. So 8 goes into itself once and into 32 4 times. So I have the square root of 4 on top and nothing on the bottom because square root of 1 is just 1. So 8 times 2 is 16. 16 over 5. Here's the same problem done differently. What if I had cut the top of the square roots there in half and made it square root of 16 and the bottom square root of 4? I would have still had 8 over 5 on this side, but then it's 8 times 4 over 5 times 2, which is 32 over 10, and I can still reduce that to 16 over 5. Two times 3 is 6, and square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4, but that's not the final answer. Should be 12. On this practice problem, 10 over 5 cancels to a 2 on the top, and square root of 50 over square root of 2 is square root of 25 on the top. So the bottom is gone. 2 times 5 is 10. On this one, when you multiply these two together, it's just 4. Multiply these two together, it's 6. So the answer is 24. (32). The square root of 32 breaks up as the square root of 16 square root of 2, which is 4 square root of 2. It breaks up as the square root of 36 square root of 2, so it's 6 square root of 2.
We've had this one 4 times now.
It's 2 square root of 6, just as it was the first 4 times this class. Here's another one. We had this one once before. The answer on this is 2 square root of 15.